Goodbye October and hello November. In this video, we have a lot of important things to chit chat about, but most importantly, we're gonna try to get to the bottom of the golden question: in what direction is the market about to break? It very much feels like the first portion of November is gonna be very telling in terms of, are we gonna continue this bullish rocket ship higher and higher and higher, or is it time that we take a little bit of a breather? My goal with this video is to not sway your personal opinion in one direction or the other. I wanna lay out the bull case, I wanna lay out the bear case, and I hope moving forward, you can use the information of both to make the best decision for you and of course your trading account. But before we get to all the fun stuff, I have two very important asks of you. If you enjoy these type of market breakdown videos, don't forget to like, subscribe, share this video with a friend. All that stuff really does help me out. And also, and we haven't done this in a hot minute, before you watch this video, in a comment below, I would love to hear back from all of you. Are you guys bullish going into the month of November or bearish? I would love to hear from all of you before I hit you with all these facts, stats, and figures, just because I want to know where everyone's mind is currently at. With all that being said, let's roll the tape. Alrighty, as I commonly do, let's add a little bit of framework to this video. When the market closed on Friday to wrap up the week and the month, here's the official headline. Nasdaq and S&P 500 closed higher thanks to Amazon to cap off a strong week. So the overall market looking pretty good, not that far removed from the all-time high, and yes, there are two downside gap fills. Pretty much a similar situation in the Nasdaq. We just hit an all-time high, like I said, about 3 full trading days ago, but there's also two downside gap fills. Volatility of the S&P 500 VIX, the VIX, is starting to pick up a little bit, but pretty much in a vacuum. It's still at a pretty low value. And then taking a look at the dollar, we're actually starting to finally see some life in the Dixie DXY, the dollar index, which for quite a while has been taking a pretty noteworthy hit. The first trading week in the month of November is chock full of announcements, discussions, earnings, and all that good stuff. But first, we should talk about seasonality. And I do want to let you know that the first portion of November is historically incredibly bullish. So this is the past 20 years worth of information, data on the S&P 500. You can see that from a seasonal perspective, it absolutely skyrockets. If you look at the past 5 years, yes, November is very bullish. And in fact, if you look at the weekly, it is the single most bullish week of the entire year. For those of you who were listening and you need me to say it one more time, the upcoming trading week, the first trading week of November over the past 5 years and over the past 3 years, is the single most bullish trading week of the entire calendar year. Now, as a reminder, just because it's played out that way historically doesn't mean it's going to play out that way this time around. Of course, there's a lot of things that could impact it, which is why we should get into the hot news of the day. Trump plays nice with Asian allies stung by repeated threats. So we know over this trade war saga really kind of getting going in April all the way up until now, there's been highs, there's been lows, and at this exact moment, things are seeming a lot better, i.e. more bullish than they really ever have. President Donald J. Trump strikes deal on economic and trade relations with China. Over the past week, we know that there was seemingly good news and really there was a lot of framework and foundation, but these two presidents met in South Korea, and coming out of it, both of them had nothing but positive things to say. Well, over the weekend, we got even more good news, some solidified details of what this new relationship is going to look like. From China, suspend new rare earth export controls, issue general licenses for exports of rare earths, take significant measures to end flow of fentanyl to the US, suspend all retaliatory tariffs since March 4th, suspend all territorially non-tariff measures since March 4th, purchased at least 12 million metric tons of US soybeans. And then on the US side, lower tariffs on China by 10 percentage points, extend the expiration of certain Section 301 tariff exclusions until November of 2026. So basically, both of them not only saying the right thing over the past week, but now that we see the details, like I said, especially if you're reading everyone's commentary on this, generally perceived to be pretty freaking bullish. And very quickly, one little side point here. It seems as if the biggest company in the world, I'm talking about Nvidia, ticker symbol NVDA, is about to get a little bit bigger. According to both President Trump and President Xi, This deal will ensure that Nvidia competes in China's market. It doesn't take some economic mastermind to realize that this is just going to be adding a lot of dollars to the bottom line of Nvidia. So if you happen to be riding this one, congrats to you. I think this is incredibly important, so let's review the bull case for the overall market. If you look at the overall market, we just hit an all-time high. Kind of hard to be absurdly bearish when we literally just hit a new record. With respect to trend, we are seeing higher highs and higher lows. By definition, that is a bullish trend, and we're seeing it in the S&P 500 and also the Nasdaq. With respect to price momentum, well, the current price is above all the major EMAs, the exponential moving average, so that's pretty bullish price momentum as well on top of trend and literally those record highs. And then when you look at the quote unquote narrative, well, we just hit a massive trade deal with one of our largest trade partners, and that's been one of the sticking points, if you will, for most of the trading year of what in the world is going on with this trade war that now seems to be coming to a conclusion. So obviously another bullish advantage. Now, all of that by itself is pretty freaking bullish, but don't forget the fact that this upcoming week and really month is extremely bullish, to the point that the upcoming trading week is the most bullish trading week of the entire calendar year. I think this goes without saying, but those are some pretty nice tailwinds for the bull camp to have, especially coming off the recent earnings where most of the major players, specifically focusing on the Mag 7, not all of them, but most of them did do pretty well. Now, with all of that being said, what in the world is the bear camp looking at? Well, from a technical perspective, both the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq, as you can see on the charts right now, both of them have downside gap fills. Now, obviously, if we get those downside gap fills on the SPX and on the index, that doesn't mean necessarily we're crashing or there's a whole bear market, but obviously that's a little bit of downward price action. So from a technical perspective, that is something you have to consider. I guess since we're talking about technicals, it should also be noted that if you're looking at quote unquote overbought signals such as RSI or MACD, the current chart really is suggesting things are screaming red hot right now. So that might be, hey, we need a little bit of a breather. Not necessarily a crash or some sort of noteworthy sell-off, but hey, maybe getting to this downside gap fill for those indicators to once again cool off. On a different note, when you take a look under the hood in the derivatives market, well, it's telling us something a little bit funky is going on. If you look at the overall gamma exposure of the S&P 500, you can see right now when you put all expirations together, we're in a bit of negative gamma, and it's almost bimodal. You have some positive gamma up here around 6,950, and then all the way down here around 6,700, saying that, hey, we could easily pop in either of these directions. And right now, there is, for the first time in a hot minute, people buying protection. We're seeing that as the VIX is slowly but surely climbing up. Granted, it's not some sort of mega breakout in volatility, but it's definitely going a little bit higher than it is lower. And I find it interesting that this is occurring as the dollar, for the first time really this entire year, is showing a bit of strength. In my humble opinion, these are the major components of both the bull case and the bear case. Maybe some of them resonate with you, maybe some of them don't, but those are the things that I'll personally be paying attention to. But what you should definitely be paying attention to is all the upcoming major macroeconomic announcements. And let me remind you that the government's still shut down. Some of these are a little bit tentative, but anyway, we're getting some manufacturing numbers to kick off the week. Monday, as you're going to notice every single day this week, we have voting Fed members, so you might want to be paying attention to those speeches. If you fast forward a little bit to Wednesday, maybe not, we're going to be getting some employment numbers. Same thing on Thursday, a ton of Fed speeches on Thursday. And then on Friday, maybe unemployment numbers, more Fed speeches. And we're also getting the concepts of consumer sentiment and consumer credit. And just to add a few sprinkles onto this chaotic Sunday, don't forget the fact that we're still in earnings season. So really, to kick off the week, I know a lot of you watching this are going to be paying attention to Palantir. On Tuesday, Uber, Shopify, Spotify, Pfizer, Hut 8. We have AMD, that's going to be a big one, and Supermicro. Fast forwarding to Wednesday, we have McDonald's, Unity, Robinhood, IONQ. Going to be interesting to see what's playing out there. D-Wave is going to be on Thursday. And really, even though most of the Mag 7 reported last week, this week I think is going to have a huge influence on the small cap sector. So you really might want to be paying attention in the aggregate sense to the Russell 2000. Now, I know I hit you with a ton of information, but I did put all the major highlights into the newsletter, which is 100% free. It's in the description of the video, but every single Sunday to your email inbox, you're going to get a breakdown of what's going on in the market, all the major earnings. I kind of highlight the ones I think you're going to care about the most, all the major macroeconomic events, and then I give you the seasonality for each individual trading day of the upcoming week, just in case you happen to be a day trader, scalp trader, or something like that. But as you're going to see, Monday bullish, Tuesday bullish, Wednesday bullish, Thursday very bullish. In fact, Thursday singularly, as in one trading day, is one of the most bullish days of the entire year. And then Friday, surprise, surprise, also bullish. Now, I should remind you, just because something in the past has played out in a bullish manner doesn't guarantee that it will this time around. Of course, paying attention to earnings, what's going on with the government shutdown, what's going on with trade deals. But if history in any manner rhymes, well, the bull camp, even though it's been very happy from May to now, might be that much happier. However, on the flip side, the bears are clearly going to be targeting those downside gap fills, so just something that you might want to put on your watch list, throw on an alert, or just at least at minimum be mindful of. As I said before, these are all my personal opinions, and it's what I'll personally be paying attention to. So maybe you agree with the bullish side, the bear side, maybe you're somewhere in the middle, and that's exactly why I would love to get your thoughts in a comment below. Do you agree with this? Do you think I'm missing something important? I would love to hear from you, like I said, in a comment below. That's what I have for you today. I appreciate all the good vibes. I hope to catch you in the next one. And don't forget, Monday to Friday, 9 to 11, I have a live show where you can see me degenerately trade my own account. And hey, if you want to join the party, we're there for free for everyone. Once again, Monday to Friday, 9 to 11. You can find it wherever you're watching this video. I hope to see you there. I appreciate the good vibes. Peace.